had minor offenses. And we are here today, Your Excellency, to inform you that the National Assembly is very, very open and ready to partner with all the state government to make sure the implementation of the 99 Constitution as amended is properly implemented.
Governor Francis Nwifuru, who was represented by the Speaker of Ebonyi State House of Assembly, Moses Ije Odunwa, assured that the government will work in tandem with the committee to achieve the desired reformations.
Ebonyi State House of Assembly, where I man is the first throughout the country to have promulgated or passed a law on prison reforms. It is on course that instead of seeing, prisons as a way of punishment for minor offenders, he is working towards making it a reformative center.
With the correctional services already moved from the exclusive list to the concurrent list, the state government pledged to continuously engage the authorities on how best to improve the facilities and service in line with best practices. The House of Representatives member representing Aba North and South Federal Constituency, Alex Maxcott, has renovated and refurbished 4 blocks of classroom at Ezeama Community High School in Abia, Aba State as part of his contribution towards quality education in the state. Alex said this in a statement in Abuja on Saturday. He said that the renovation and refurbishment of classrooms underscored his commitment to deliver quality education in public schools in the state. He also said the gesture would significantly enhance the learning environment for the students in his constituency. Alex said the newly refurbished classroom blocks would provide an inspiring and conducive environment for learning, elevating the academic experience for both students and teachers. Alex said he had equally focused on the welfare and development of the people, adding that this was by demonstrating a deep understanding of their needs. According to him, his efforts resonate with the Governor Alex Oti's ongoing initiative to rejuvenate education and infrastructure across Abia. This, according to him, highlights his effective representation and close collaboration with the state government. Up ahead, Nasarawa Youth Lord Lawmaker for empowering 110 youths and sinking 49 boreholes. The Nigerian Football Federation mourns Heartland coach. Details shortly. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has vowed to explore all possible housing financing options to tackle the massive housing deficit being faced by the country. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, made this known while briefing on the achievements, milestones and activities of the ministry within 1 year in office. Dangiwa said that on assuming office, an action plan was developed in line with the priorities and deliverables of President Bola Tinubu. He said the ministry entered into partnership with Shelter Afrique Development, SHAFDB, to deliver 5,000 housing units as part of efforts to provide housing for Nigerians. Dangiwa said over the past 1 year, substantial progress had been recorded, adding that as part of the land reforms, the ministry was exploring a partnership with the World Bank. This, he said, was towards the implementation of National Land Titling Program. The minister said that by recording land transactions and ownership and implementing advanced digital tools and technologies, and efficient land data management and accessibility for all stakeholders will be ensured. He said that the ministry intended on exploring all possible house financing options to tackle the massive housing deficit faced by the country. Dangiwa added that good progress in fixing the issues with the Federal Land Information System, FELIS, has been made, adding that the digital system was created to centralize records of federal government land, ensuring their safety and integrity. He said that substantial progress has been made in increasing the stock of affordable and decent housing stock for Nigerians, with the groundbreaking of 6,612 housing units across 13 locations nationwide under the renewed Hope Cities and Estate program.
There is a massive and historic mismatch between the housing and urban development needs of our country versus the budgetary provisions. I pointed out that from research, Nigeria's population of over 220 million population with a growth rate of 2.5% per annum requires about 550,000 housing units annually over the next 10 years to meet the housing deficit. I also noted that this will require about 5.5 trillion per annum to fix this deficit. This cannot come from the government. We are working on PPPs and other sources of housing finance to bridge the gap. It is necessary for the government to do more in terms of budgetary allocation to housing and urban development. On this basis, we made a solemn request for the budgetary allocation of a minimum of 500 billion budgetary allocation per annum for the renewed Hope Cities and Estates program, so that we can create more impact and enable more Nigerians have access to decent shelter. I'm happy to say that this was well received by the National Assembly committees. This means that we are on course to tripling our impact in the second year, God willing. Besides increased budgetary allocation, we are intent on exploring all possible housing financing options to tackle the massive housing deficit that we face as a country. We may not have the financial war chest, but we have the leverage as a government. For far too long, we have failed to maximize our relationships with bilateral and multilateral institutions, including that we have substantial interest. We have seen where smaller African countries are taking advantage of those housing development institutions to boost housing for their citizens, while we simply watch. Within this 1 year, we have taken steps to change this. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are set to sign a housing development partnership with Shelter Africa Development Bank. Under the partnership, the Shelter Africa Development Bank, the Pan-African Housing Institution, will support the Renewed Hope program with advisory services and financing of competent developers. We are looking at about 5,000 housing units in the pilot. This will be the first time that the ministry is entering into such a practical and direct partnership with a multilateral institution for the construction of homes for Nigerians. Nigeria is the second largest shareholder in SharpDB, only after Kenya with 29 million US dollars as our share subscription. Some of the key components of the Action Plan 2023 to 2027 are as follows. The first is the rapidly reforming the federal housing institutions to make them more efficient and increase their capacity. Increase the housing stock of decent and affordable housing units in the country to meet the rising demand. Thirdly, expand the implementation of the National Urban Renewal and Slum Upgrade Program to improve livability of our urban areas and slums, and streamline land administration and governance through the review of the Land Use Act in conjunction with the National Assembly and state governments. Establish the National Social Housing Fund to ensure access to decent housing for low-income earners and their privileged and the IDPs. And establish private sector-led local building materials manufacturing clusters in each of the political zones of the country to reduce imports and lower cost of housing construction.
Unity Chamber of Umbitu, Lafia, Nasarawa State, has commended the member representing Lafia's Central Constituency at the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, Solomon Akwashiki, for empowering over 110 youths. The chairman of the group, Yahaya Sani, gave the commendation when he was on a courtesy call to the lawmaker on Saturday in Lafia. The chairman also appreciated the lawmaker for sinking in new 49 boreholes and other projects towards improving the standard of living of the people of the constituency. He called on the lawmaker to contest for the seat of Lafia Obi Federal Constituency come 2027. He also appreciated Akwashiki for grading 7-kilometer road from Lafia to Akasa. The chairman, however, appealed for more employment opportunities and the provision of grinding machines, among other forms of support. Responding, the member commended the youths for the visit and assured them of continuous effective representation. Brigadier General Babatunde Omokbariola has resumed as the new commander of the 17th Brigade Castina and Commander Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Hadarin Daji. The new commander officially assumed duty during the handing over at the brigade headquarters, Natsita Cantonment, along Jibia Road, Castina. Omokbariola succeeded Brigadier General Oluremi Fadairo, who has been posted to 12th Brigade Lokoja as commander. In his maiden address to the officers of the brigade, Omokbariola expressed gratitude to Almighty God for the successful handing and taking over process. The new commander also extended his appreciation to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tawhid Labaja, for entrusting him with the new role. He commended Fadairo for his successful service record and expressed readiness to collaborate with all officers and soldiers to ensure lasting peace and stability within the brigade's area of responsibility, AOR. Operatives of the Nasarawa State Police Command arrested one female, Hawa Sani, for concealing 124 rounds of anti-craft ammunition in a gallon of palm oil alongside a 2-year-old child in the state. The command's public relations officer, Ramhan Nansel, revealed this in a statement on Saturday. According to the statement, the state police operatives arrested the suspect with a cash sum of 78,500 and a mobile phone while trying to smuggle the ammunition to Castina State, where the suspect is reportedly from. The Commissioner of Police, Shehu Nadada, has ordered the transfer of the suspect and exhibit to the Force Intelligence Department Force Headquarters in Abuja for further investigation. The Imo Police Command has arrested 5 suspected kidnapping syndicate responsible for terrorizing residents in Obinze, Avu, and environs, as well as abduction of a 26-year-old woman from her residence in Obinze in Owerri West local government area. A statement by the police public relations officer Henry Okoye on Saturday explained in response to a reported kidnapping of a 26-year-old woman from her residence swung into action. The release said the Commissioner of Police promptly deployed the command's anti-kidnapping unit with all available operational resources and intelligence to apprehend the perpetrators and ensure the safe rescue of the victim. The operatives targeted a forest hideout in Avu, where the suspects were located, and successfully rescued the victim unharmed and arrested the suspect. Items recovered from the suspects include 1 pump-action gun, 5 cartridges, 2 daggers, a cutlass, and various criminal charms. He says that investigations were still ongoing to apprehend the remaining members of the gang and ensure they face the full extent of the law. The Force Headquarters on Saturday confirmed the rescue of the 20 medical students and other kidnappers in Benue State who were on their way to Enugu State for a program. The Force Headquarters emphasized that no ransom was paid to any bandit or terrorist for the rescue, as it was strictly a security operation conducted under the supervision of the Office of the National Security Advisor. Recall that the medical students were kidnapped along the Otukpo-Enugu Federal Highway in Otukpo local government area of Benue State on their way to Enugu State to attend a conference. Japan's Foreign Minister, Kamikawa Yoko, met with Nigeria's Foreign Minister, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, on Saturday, marking a significant step towards deepening bilateral relations. Their meeting took place on the sideline of the Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development Ministerial meeting. The discussions focused on enhancing cooperation in various sectors, particularly business and economic relations. Yoko expressed her appreciation for the constructive dialogues during her visit to Nigeria in April this year. She emphasized Japan's interest in fostering stronger economic ties, including support for startups, as part of a broader effort to enhance the partnership between the two nations. She reiterated Japan's commitment to collaborating with Nigeria to address global issues, praising Nigeria's leadership in Africa and its shared democratic values. Minister Kamikawa stated that she had observed the serious situation facing internally displaced women during her visit to Nigeria this April, which made her realize the need for initiatives based on a women, peace, and security perspective. Tuga responded positively, acknowledging the concrete progress achieved through the T-card process. He expressed gratitude for Japan's ongoing support and conveyed Nigeria's eagerness to further strengthen bilateral and regional cooperation. Heartland FC media officer Tunde Leadi has confirmed in a statement the death of Heartland FC coach Obi to newsmen on Saturday. Leadi stated he died during an accident which occurred at Okwele in Onimo, local government area of Imo, at about 4 p.m. on Friday. He explained that the accident happened when their coaster bus collided with a stationary truck while trying to avoid a head-on collision with an oncoming vehicle. He added there were at least 20 members of the team in the bus and that some players sustained various degrees of injuries. He further stated that the team were on their way for the Tico Select Ifeanyi Ekwueme preseason tournament taking place in Abakaliki, Ebonyi, when the accident happened. According to Leadi, the driver tried his best to avert the accident, but the impact of the collision caused a sudden shock to the coach. He further stated that he was unconscious with a slight injury on his right leg when he was taken out of the badly damaged bus. He added that Obi and other injured players were immediately rushed to a nearby private hospital for medical treatment. He regretted that the coach later passed on while the medical team were making frantic efforts to resuscitate him. He, however, said that while the club appreciates the concern from football enthusiasts over the unfortunate incident, it would prefer that its privacy and that of the bereaved family be respected during the period of grief. The Nigeria Football Federation has described the death of Heartland FC coach and former under-20 goalkeeper Christian Obi as shocking and sad. Heartland's media officer Olatunde Leadi confirmed the death of the gaffer in a statement on Saturday following a ghastly accident involving one of the team's buses on their way to Abakaliki, the Ebonyi state capital, for a preseason tournament on Friday. NFF President Ibrahim Gusau said they were still stunned and saddened by the report. The former Nigerian Premier Football League side also paid tributes to their late coach who guided them back to the top flight last season. Obi was a member of the Nigerian under-20 team that won the bronze at the 1985 FIFA World Youth Championship, now FIFA Under-20 World Cup, in the then Soviet Union, defeating the host nation in a penalty shootout in the third-place match after a scoreless regulation and extra time in Moscow. Though Obi was second-choice goalkeeper, he was thrown into action in the third-place match following injury to first-choice Aloysius Ago in the 2-0 defeat to Brazil in the semi-finals in Leningrad. And Obi's heroics in saving 3 of the Soviet Union team's penalty kicks handed Nigeria a 3-win in the shootout and first ever podium finish at the tournament. The late coach was also part of Nigeria's squad for the men's football tournament of the 1988 Olympics in Seoul. Over to business news of the day. More to come. Bomb blast kills 2 children and injures 16 people in Pakistan. Monaco brushed aside Lyon to continue winning start to Ligue 1. Family members of hostages captured in Gaza gathered in Tel Aviv on Saturday, holding pictures of their loved ones and addressing President Biden in a call for help. A family member of one of the hostages accused Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu of systemic obstruction of a potential deal for the hostage release, alleging deceit and manipulation for personal and political gain. A U.S. official said negotiators from the United States met with Egypt, then bilaterally with Egypt and Qatar on Saturday, and believed that representatives from Egypt and Qatar were meeting with Hamas. Months of on-off talks have failed to produce a breakthrough to end Israel's devastating military campaign in Gaza or free the remaining hostages seized by Hamas in the militant group October 7 attack that triggered the war.
We'd like to address President Biden directly and say, Netanyahu has been systematically torpedoing this deal. You cannot believe a word he says. He will keep lying and deceiving you. He will tell you one thing, then do the opposite, all for his own personal, political, and criminal motives. He will toss a spark of hope your way, then continue with his delays and sabotage, just as he always does. President Biden, we need your help. We need you to put all possible pressure on Netanyahu in order to reach a breakthrough in the talks and secure a deal right this week.
Protesters gathered in Tel Aviv, Israel, on Saturday in protest of a government they say should resign, waving Israeli flags and banners reading "Crime Minister." The protesters gathered in front of a stage voicing their concerns and demands. A protester stated dissatisfaction with the current government, citing economic concerns and the handling of the hostage situation in Gaza.
I'm here because I think this government should resign. Like, they're not doing enough, they're ruining the country, like they're ruining the economy, they're not bringing the hostages. Like, it's just terrible what they're doing for this country. So I'm here to protest.
There's so many interests for the existence of this government. I'm sure there are also security issues and other things that have to be solved, but it does feel that the hostages are not like first priority for.
Russian President Vladimir Putin on Saturday held a meeting with top military officials on countering the enemy forces that invaded the territory of the Kursk region and the measures taken to destroy them, the Kremlin press service said. In a video released by the Kremlin, Putin was seen receiving reports from the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, Valery Gerasimov, and the Chief of the Main Operations Directorate of the General Staff, Sergei Rudoskoy. Later, Putin also listened to reports by telephone from the commanders of the troop groups involved in the special military operation in Ukraine on the operational situation in the areas entrusted to them. North Korea expressed serious concern and strongly condemned the revised nuclear strategic plan approved by United States President Joe Biden this year. Newsreader for the television read the statement from its foreign ministry, stating that North Korea will, as ever, bolster its strategic strength in every way to control and eliminate all sorts of security challenges that may result from the U.S. dangerous nuclear posture readjustment, and will resolutely counter any type of nuclear threat. The statement also said the North will push forward with the building of a nuclear force to defend its sovereignty and security interests according to its fixed timetable. The White House on Tuesday said the classified nuclear strategic plan is not a response to a single country or threat, after the New York Times reported it reoriented the deterrence strategy to focus on China's expansion of its nuclear arsenal for the first time. A bomb blast in southwestern Pakistan killed 2 children and injured 16 people on Saturday, police officials said. Manzoor Buledi told newsmen that 7 policemen were among those injured when the remote control bomb attached to a motorcycle detonated near police headquarters in Pishin, the city's senior superintendent of police. Mujib-ur-Rahman, a police officer, said the explosives were planted in a motorcycle which was parked in the area, adding that the 2 children killed were passing through the area when the blast occurred. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the attack and expressed deep sorrow and grief over what he called the martyrdom of young children in the explosion. Villagers in Bangladesh eastern city of Comilla traded through deep floodwater to evacuate to safer grounds on Saturday, as severe flooding triggered by monsoon rains continued to inundate parts of the South Asian nation. The death toll has risen to at least 15, with over 3 million people stranded as on Friday, according to local authorities. The Flood Forecasting and Warning Center said most affected districts in Bangladesh included Feni, Movibaza, Habibganj, Comilla, and Chittagong, where 5 major rivers were flowing above danger levels. Road connectivity in several regions were severed, isolating communities and hampering relief efforts, disaster management and relief officials said. An analysis in 2015 by the World Bank Institute estimated that 3.5 million people in Bangladesh, one of the world's most climate vulnerable countries, were at risk of annual river flooding. Scientists attribute to excavation of such catastrophic events to climate change. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky vowed to take revenge on Russia in a speech released on Saturday, marking Ukraine's 33rd Independence Day. Zelensky said in a video, said their enemies would also know what the Ukrainian way retaliation is: worthy, symmetrical, long-ranged. Ukraine launched its surprise strike on the Russian region on August 6th, the biggest invasion of Russia since World War II, in an operation that Kyiv says is aimed at carving out a buffer zone and wearing down Russia's war machine. Kyiv's top commander has touted the capture of almost 100 settlements, part of what military analysts see as an attempt to divert Russia's troops from eastern Ukraine, where Moscow's forces continue to advance. The Philippines called on Beijing to immediately cease all provocative and dangerous actions after accusing it of unjustifiably deploying flares from China-occupied Subi Reef, which Manila refers to as the Zamora Reef, on Thursday, while a Philippine aircraft was conducting patrol. The Philippines South China Sea Task Force said in a statement that the same aircraft also faced harassment from a Chinese jet fighter while it was conducting a surveillance flight near Scarborough Shoal on Monday. There was no immediate comment from the Chinese embassy in Manila about the incident, which happened the same week. Manila and Beijing accused each of ramming vessels and performing dangerous maneuvers in the South China Sea. China claims sovereignty over nearly the whole South China Sea and has deployed an armada of Coast Guard vessels to protect what it considers its territory. The Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Brunei contest the claims. Monaco secured back-to-back wins to start their Ligue 1 campaign on Saturday, outclassing Lyon 2-0 at the Groupama Stadium. Eliezer Ben-Seghir capped a fine performance with the opener midway through the second half before Lamine Camara struck to seal the 3 points for the away side. Lyon ended another difficult start to their league campaign after a 3-0 defeat at Rennes last weekend. They have now conceded 5 goals in their opening 2 matches, having been the form team in Ligue 1 in 2024. The best chance of the first half fell to Monaco's Japanese attacker, Takumi Minamino, on the half-hour mark. The former Liverpool player wriggled free inside the box with a deft touch, but Lucas Perry managed to narrow the angle and tip the ball onto the far post. Lyon looked to have come close to grabbing an unlikely lead right on the stroke of halftime, but Philippe Cohen shot off his line quickly to nullify the danger. A goal kick was signaled as Said Benrahma had marginally overrun the ball in the build-up. Embelo missed another chance on 63 minutes when Mahiz Akulech lofted a cross into the box. He attempted an overhead kick inside a crowded area which blazed over the goal. However, Monaco's pressure soon told, and it was Ben-Seghir and Aklioche who provided the breakthrough on 65th minute. The 19-year-old zipped a pass to Aklioche, who then returned the favor before Ben-Seghir shifted the ball onto his right foot in tight space and threaded a precise finish into the far corner. Arsenal passed an early test of their Premier League title credentials with a 2-0 win at Aston Villa, while Manchester United suffered a last-gasp 2-1 defeat at Brighton on Saturday. Erling Haaland's hat-trick fired champions Manchester City to the top of the table with a 4 win over Ipswich, while Tottenham trashed Everton 4-0. Arsenal's 2 defeats to Villa last season cost them a first league title in 20 years. The Gunners gained revenge in Birmingham, but needed a stunning save from David Raya to prevent Oli Watkins from heading Villa in front. Leandro Trossard came off the bench to make the breakthrough with a composed finish of 67 minutes. Thomas Partey then made sure of the victory with a low effort that Emiliano Martinez should have kept out. Arsenal's Ghanaian midfielder, number 5, Thomas Partey, celebrates after scoring their second goal during the English Premier League football match between Aston Villa and Arsenal at Villa Park in Birmingham, Central England, on August 24, 2024. Arsenal have finished second to City in each of the past 2 seasons and seem set to battle it out for the title once more. And that's the news this hour. I am Chiomalina Jean. Thanks for watching. See, Mama.
The NHPC Limited, or NHPC as it stands, I don't know if it's fully represented the interest of Nigerians. So should I be talking about a windfall today, or a windfall? Because when people talk about the inflations, talk about inflation and high cost of things, they point us to the US, they point to the UK, the Western world. But what they are not adding is the welfare in those states. There are people that still get check in the mail till today in the UK that do not have jobs. The young people in Nigeria that are not employed don't enjoy that. So we should be comparing ourselves with all economies like the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Iran, even Iraq, and the rest of them. They are smiling to the bank. I think that's what we need today. Because now we have NNPC Limited. That is a limited liability. So it should be run properly. It's no longer a corporation of government. So ordinarily, if we allow the private hands to run it, the decisions will now be strictly commercial. If we do that, we will save ourselves from the...
A very good morning to you, viewer, and welcome to a new day on Signature Television. And like we always say, this is your go-to program for narratives across Nigeria making headlines. And of course, my name is Chigi Chiagorom, and with me in the studio is
Joshua Oritogun, and today is packed full with a lot of events that's going to be happening. We'll have the newspaper headline, to the reviews, and to the different interview segments that we have for you.
Absolutely, Joshua. Meanwhile, I just have to compliment the color that you're putting on.
Oh,
this
come
morning.
On, stop it! You know, I'm trying my best.
Just take it and say
it's humility, humility.
All right, so we go on a short break, and when we come back, newspaper headlines and reviews. Stay with us. If you're just joining us, this is still a new day on Signature Television, and we'll be discussing headlines making waves across Nigerian dailies. First up will be Sunday Punch. Boldly written in front of Sunday Punch is 2027. Tinubu woos North as loyalists battle opposition, with rider Shetima Ganduje to march out to aggrieve Northerners.
And we will not be doing this alone this morning. We'll have in studio with us Chris Maduka. Chris Maduka is going to be joining us for the newspaper headlines and review. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Josh. Good morning, Chigi.
Lovely to have you in
This
the
is a
studio.
bright new day.
Absolutely.
But it's bright, and our sitting president is already campaigning for 2027.
I actually think the politicking has actually hit the ground running, really. It's not just about our president. There are others. We read yesterday of some Northerners coming together to woo former President Jonathan, into joining the race, which I'm glad you find laughable.
What is baffling me is that we have not, I don't know, all this wooing and drawing and cajoling and horse trading, what it has not added anything to us as Nigerians. We are still suffering.
Yeah, is that the best way to even go about
That's what I'm worrying about. And is it that Nigerian politicians are shameless? Is it that they don't have a heart of human beings? Is it that the God is using them to punish Nigerians? At this particular time, they have hitting headlines talking about 2027. How many Nigerians will survive 2027 with the state of things in Nigeria? Everything has failed. Insecurity, don't want total flawed. Governance, nowhere to, economy, the educational system, the health system. And all you hear is that people are thinking about next election. For God's sake. For God's sake. I know it's not easy, but there are certain things you don't even come out to tell it to us. Let us push it to our face. Do your horse trading on the ground. Start, of course, from the first day you got in there, if you have interest in going second tenor, we know what you do. But when, for us that are going to vote, there's nothing on the ground. Anyway, they're just telling us that we don't even need us to vote.
Absolutely. I was even going to go there because it says they are reaching out to aggrieved northerners. What about the other regions in Nigeria? Do they not matter?
They will eventually reach them, but this is in the time to reach north, reach south, reach west, reach east. Why reaching them? What are you reaching them with? For another vote? For another tenor? Are you reaching them with tangible things that will make them say, we are in support? Is it that you go there, the Nigerian politics, Chigi, if I see you, somebody come, if you see me, you've seen them all. And the people that are talking about reaching the north, you're not talking about the north that is boiling. They're just going to select few. All those ones what do they normally do? They will go and cook rice and they put it on a tray and keep all the masses there. When they finish, they give them teams and all to go and be fetching water. And they say the empowerment. And those ones will then say, Baba, with 1 naira they can kill anybody. Weaponize poverty. And they're telling us, I just don't know. I don't know. They did not fulfill the book. Some people say this is the last day. I don't know what that means. But then, if you check what is happening in Nigeria, we have conscienceless people everywhere. No consideration. Everybody just talking about himself. Yes, everybody has a right to aspire for second tenor and our president will give it to you. You have the right to go second tenor. Don't have anything against you. Is it at this time we'll be talking about it? And we'll push it to our face? That's my worry. I don't have anything. If you vote the North, and the North are happy, I'm talking about who is the North. They just select few politicians. They talk to themselves. And they will promise him heaven and earth. And they'll go out and just settle some few people to go to and start killing people and then cajole everybody and put fear. We are living in a country of we can't predict nothing. You just wake up, you're moving like a walking ghost, living dead. And politicians are cruising around, pushing it to our face that we can't do nothing. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. Nigerians are dying. This is not time to start campaigning for 2027. Do something tangible. The federal government, the state government, all the levels of government, do something for Nigeria. Don't push it to our face. You want to return, because returning for 2007 as what? Let me ask. I'm not speaking the mind of everybody, but I'm just saying that majority of people may feel the same way I feel, and that's why it's a democracy. This is why I feel. Don't have anything against people coming back for, but I feel that if it's me, you ask me to talk about it. I have not seen anything that you have done now that you say, oh, I can lead a team and say, let's go and do this the second time. Well, you have a right to do what you want to do.
All right, Chris. Moving over to Sunday Times, we have boldly written there, Nigerians in captivity, how adopted citizens spend years as hostage.
And now the breadwinner of the house is kidnapped and somebody is requesting 50 million, 100 million, in some cases 1 billion. The girls citizens spend years as hostages and bandits wait endlessly for ransom. Well, what did I say? And with this kind of headline, Some people are still weighing the north, weighing the west, weighing the north and east,
Weighing
weighing
everyone.
the southwest, south, weighing everybody for 2027.
So
Let's look at it. And then they should prick their conscience and say, if everything is right, weighing it becomes it becomes easy. You are even weighing because there's nothing on the ground. That's why you're weighing and going and lobbying and prostrating. Because Nigerians can see, they can feel.
All right.
They have conscience. They are human beings. If they know what is right, majority at least know what is right. And they will vote for you.
All right, Mr. Chris. On this day, this news space on Chief Justice Kekere Ekun, the newly installed CJN of Nigeria, the agenda with riders dealing mostly on recommendations and suggestions by stakeholders in the industry. The one that actually piqued my interest was the statement by Abakoba, the Sun. He says, the court presently works on the 1844 model of the English court. The challenge for the new CGN is to turn this around. Chris, what's your take on this? 1844 model. 1844 model.
Whatever model that works for us, let them go about it. But how many of us understand what they're talking about? It's just legal luminaries enjoying themselves with jargons and is that there is another unconfirmed story that U.S. has denied her access to U.S. Because of some earlier judgment she delivered. But here she is Chief Justice of the Federation. In some other climates, if you have anything, even if it's rumor, associated around you, you won't make it to this level. But here we are, because imagine all the extended and nuclear relations, multiplier effect of people who are hooked on Kekereku, and they are already celebrating the success of their breadwinner. And then you sit here and be talking about this. You look at you as one of the greatest witches that are working against their happiness. But we have 200 and how many million Nigerians welfare to think about. And that's where, when we begin to talk like that, whoever asks is God should remain secondary. Let's look at the majority, because that's what democracy is all about.
All right, Charles, Chris, rather, we'll run the headlines and then we'll hit on the ones we want to finish up with. Okay. So we'll start with Sunday Punch. Sunday Punch, just above the mast, we have how security agents killed suspected kidnapper, rescued 20 medical students.
Still above the mast on Sunday Punch, why people call me a controversial pastor coming from Dr. Damina.
Pastor, actually. Chief Magistrate under probe for jailing Ondo man without trial. You can find this on the page 4 of the Sunday Punch. Economic
hardship forces patients out of treatment, turns dying souls to beggars.
Unpleasant childhood polygamous experience made me marry one wife, says an 80-year-old retiree.
Interesting.
Beautiful.
Moving on Sunday Punch still, Lagos night food vendors defy styrofoam ban, insists alternatives unaffordable.
And shock as lady flogs, strips friend naked for sleeping with boyfriend. Amazing. You can find this on the page 7 of the Sunday Punch.
National Intelligence Agency DG resigns, cites family reasons, finally on Sunday Punch.
And moving over to the Sunday Vanguard, kidnappers force pregnant woman to travel 334 kilometers to deliver ransom.
My goodness. Still above the Sunday Vanguard mast, in rare action, Nigeria's intelligence chief resigns.
And just below the mast, poor governance in Nigeria, fresh storm over constitutional crossroads. The writers have it as 25 years controversy of a new constitution or amendment refuses to die. Tinubu, the Patriots, Yakasia, Agbakuba, others weigh in.
Okay, still on Sunday Vanguard, protest erupts in Sokoto over bandits' murder of monarch. You can find that on page 6.
MPA MD upbeat about new port managers. You can find this on page 4.
Why I gave Ishekiri Distinguished Sons Awards, coming from Olu of Warri.
$100 billion creative ministry drive improving opportunities, says Musawa.
And finally, on Sunday Vanguard, prioritize funding for armed forces. UNDP CSOs tell federal government.
And moving over to the Sunday Times, just below the mast, Nigerians in captivity had adopted citizens spend years as hostages as bandits wait endlessly for ransom.
Skills for Nigerian youths at National Sewing Championships 2024.
Students mobilize against proposed 80,000 naira electricity fees in universities.
And finally, on the Sunday Times, federal government unveils draft national tourism policy.
And to this day, just above the mast, CDS to Nigerians. Security is everybody's business. People should give us information. The writer has it as police nab woman with 124 rounds of anti-aircraft ammunition in Nasarawa.
And just below the mast, Chief Justice Kekere Ekun, the agenda with riders. There needs to be a rethinking, repositioning, restoration, rebranding, and rejigging of the judiciary, coming from Olanikbekun San. The court presently works on the 1844 model of the English court. The challenge for the new CGN is to turn this around, coming from Agbakoba San. The incoming CGN should push for the creation of constitutional courts at 3 tiers: trial, appellate, and final, for the determination of political and other allied matters, coming from Daudu San. She should ensure that bad eggs in the judiciary are not treated with levity or a mere backslap, coming from Yadudu. And she must be courageous to resist skeptics and defend against internal and external pressures, says Idigwe San. And the story we found on page 5 of this day.
And moving over to Sunday Independence, just above the mast, we have flood disaster. Thousands of victims displaced, helpless in Castina.
Still above the mast, Kakol seeks Ajero's speedy trial over alleged terrorism financing.
And below the mast, Rabidu comes under fire as bandits overwhelm security agencies. The writer has it as he's not man for the job, security expert. NIA DG Rufai Abubakar resigns. Security, it's everybody's business, says CDS Musa.
Still above the mast and on page 5 of Sunday Independent, NPA's Dan Shoho tasks new port managers on customer-friendly port operations.
An article responds to Bode George's comment on him. You can find this on page 2 of the Sunday Independent.
Local government autonomy analysts task federal government on mechanisms for ensuring accountability. Say anti-graft agencies, CSOs, have roles to play.
Kogi governor remains committed APC member, says state government.
And finally, on the Sunday Independent, Anambra IPAC disowns APC to participate in local government election.
And that is that for the newspaper headlines. Going back to the reviews with Krista with us in the studio. So I would like to go back to the Sunday. Okay, we're still on Sunday Independent, and to hit with the president wooing the North. Flood disaster, thousands of victims displaced, helpless in Castina. What's your take on this? And the president is still wooing some set of people there.
Well, the wooing will continue. But the idea is so many dangerous things happening, and the wooing everywhere kept blind eyes to them, and they're going and wooing.
But Chris, before you continue, anytime we hear woo, what comes to our mind, especially with the lady and the guy, is that the guy that toasts the baby. So
that's another way now.
That's
our president are now
toasting. Political toasting and lobbying goes that way. Of sending some people who go and talk, they will endless meetings, and they tell you how much they go into all this, horse trading. You go somebody who think he can control the minds of the opinion leaders, how much they give them to make sure they organize and get these people to support whatever. It costs government money. What I want saying, spending that money in toasting and weighing could as well be used that money to do some other things for now. And if we do that, we're reducing this pressure so that it won't cost you much to toast or woo or lobby. That's all we are saying. And then we have to, the flood thing. Now, I've said about the proverb, the adage, or when they say some children are eating mushroom killed their father and their mother. They came back and said mushroom is still what they are taking for breakfast or lunch. Nimet warned Nigeria about this flooding, and they talked about how the rain this year will come. At the time we are now, it seems is the peak of rain in certain part of Nigeria, especially the southeast. The way it rains now and all. And a lot of things they warned again. The government of the states, the state government of these states were warned that there will be this flood and these flooding issues. And they still caught us and caught some part of Nigeria. In fact, if it's not because it's location-based, it would have caught the whole Nigeria by surprise. Nigeria is a country where we do not run for rain until we are drenched.
You mean this figuratively or literally?
Now they look at Katsina State, look at the damage. This is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is not the third time. And they know this thing comes seasonally. And then at each time it comes, it does damage. Great damage to lives and property of Nigeria. And we have not thought it wise. You couldn't even hear any politician weighing the north or the south with it. What I will do for you when I get there to stop flooding. I only fire you, water you, do all these kind of things. And at the end of it all, we are still talking about renewed hope agenda of the sitting government. Is it that you told us that the hope is renewed? And when you sit there for how many months now, no single iota of hope has been renewed. And you are bold to go and woe the north, south, east, west, and all that, even walls around everybody. So if you notice that, you now know that we are not talking about things that will move us further. And we're only talking about next election.
Sure.
So next election. As I sit here, we have opportunity, as far as I'm concerned, Katsina can submerge under a flood and woe the north. Katsina is belong to the north, they are waiting for voting. And that's it, it goes up. Anambra State, Enugu State have shared from this. Most of the states, Kogi State is yearly. And the other one is classical. At the time they cut off all the politicians from crossing Kogi State to Abuja, they were using canoe and the boats to cross over. And they still continue. Some of them were flying from all the airports in Nigeria to Abuja. They forgot that route. And it was there for months until the water receded. In Katsina as it is, this Katsina being the news with disastrous issues, those ones who have gone. And we're expecting that after this, food will come from Katsina State and will be eaten. When the farmers are all taken away by flood and their farmland submerged and washed away. And you know how this thing happened in the north. So I don't know. I just don't know. But our sympathy goes to our fellow Nigerians who are suffering. It wasn't supposed to be so. We're supposed to have governments who will take care of these issues.
Yes.
Even if it's moving them to temporary camps, when the flood recedes, they will come back. Why should this flood catch Nigerians unaware and swallow and drown Nigerians and they waste their farmlands? It is not acceptable in 2024. For God's sake. It's not when you say it, you become like you are critical or criticizing anybody. It's not as it could have been anybody. Why they reduce Nigerian lives to numbers? Everybody, people are dying everywhere. We're counting numbers of how many Nigerians are dying. Is it that, are we more populated than China and India? Are they using all this to reduce our population? Is it like the government is overwhelmed? They cannot cater for 200 million Nigerians. So they allow disaster and all this is happening to reduce the number.
Talking about being overwhelmed, or still on Sunday Independent, we have Rivadu comes under fire as bandits overwhelm security agents. And this is actually coming within the same period that the National Intelligence Agency boss actually unceremoniously tendered his resignation. So what are your thoughts on this?
For the first time, we hear something that looks like somebody resigned.
Well, we need to get to know the reasons why he had to
whatever is
resign.
making him resign is not working out. You resign. How, the Ribado is still sitting there, and everybody is saying he's overwhelmed. So
is he truly though? Because quite recently, under Ribadu, they've been able to apprehend a particular Twitter.
It's not totally like when we're saying you measure performance by percentage. When you are in school, go to school, if you score 40%, you're a failure.
Yes.
If our security apparatus score above 50, we will have cause to say, you are doing great, do more. But once we are scoring, we put them on the weight and they say 40%, you 39%, 33, you're going, and every day is like receding. A small time, you score 1 mark that takes you to 39. The next day, another thing happened that push you back to 23%. And you want us to keep quiet and not say we are not seeing result. The result is not there. So if my dear friend...
I'm just saying, because there are other areas that those guys are really, you know...
But we see here...
bringing their A games.
Yeah,
so we're thinking...
There is 302 arrested in 1 week. 171 terrorists neutralized in just 1 week.
In 1 week.
They're up the game. Let's see the charts. Move up within
continuously.
Weeks. And then if we sit down here and said they're overwhelmed, then it will be our word against them. But if in 1 week, 171 terrorists neutralized, according to newspaper headline this morning, 302 arrested in 1 week, and the next day you find that 5,000 Nigerians has been abducted and taken and killed and all.
The numbers
so
if
you take it, it won't balance. You see, it's 1 step forward, 2 steps backward. That's not making us progress. Because it's not easy, too, for the people who are handling the situation. You know, when things start going bad, and nothing is done, and it gets so bad, it's difficult to rectify. Especially with security situation. People are finding out it's a great multi-billion naira business. And there's nothing that, you know, Nigerians, in their ingenuity and resilience, everybody has yesterday said everybody is turning to Nollywood actor and actress because of unemployment. So there are some areas of Nigeria providing employment for Nigerians who are unemployed. And I think whatever is happening in the security area negatively is providing employment for some youthful, exuberant, energetic, intelligent young people that we have spent all we have training them and bringing them. You get a young man from nursery school trained to graduate from a Nigerian university, and he will sit at home in this modern environment, seeing things happen, and he can't do anything. He's seeing things happen. Seeing the presidential jet and presidential yacht, hearing that 21 million naira is paid to a Nigerian senator in 1 month on National Assembly. Seeing the affluence that people are throwing about, because the internet and the social media gives everybody news on